students, my name is Peter and I am in the high school science faculty of Diamond Group of Institutions branch Bhalki. So today we are going to start the online classes for the class 8 standard, they are the science classes. So what is the need of these all online classes? You know already there's the pandemic that is covering the whole world. It becomes a very dangerous issue for all the living beings. So that's the reason. So we are conducting the online classes. So stay tuned, stay focused. Okay. So in the syllabus of the 8th standard, I'm going to tell you about the syllabus. Actually, the NCERT, right? This year NCERT syllabus of our Karnataka state is changed. You will not get the old books now. The syllabus is now changed. I think that before the chapters were around 20, more than 24 chapters were there. But this time they are reduced to the 18 chapters only. So we are discussing about the new syllabus. Okay, you can get the link from the KSEB website. You go there and you can see the links how to download the textbooks of the Science Class 8 NCERT book. Okay, so you download it and see that which of the chapters were changed and which of the chapters were there in this new syllabus. So we are going to discuss the new syllabus of your 8th standard, that is the chapter first known as crop production and the management. Okay, I hope you will download the chapters, you will download all the books. Okay, so now we will discuss about the first chapter of the syllabus, crop production and management. Then one question will arise that what is the need of the crop production and what is the need of the management of the crops, right? Why we need to do the crop production? Why we need to do the management of the crops, right? What is a crop? What is this all things? We know that the crop is nothing but it is a plant of the same kind are grown and cultivated at one place in a large scale is called as a crop. Means a same kind of particular plant is grown in a large scale. Just imagine or just consider you have 1 hectare of the land, right? In that land you are putting the crops of the rice, and the whole 1 hectare land is placed only or sold only by the rice crops, rice plants. So that kind of the crops or that kind of the plants are known as the crops. Ultimate example, the rice crop. What is the rice crop means? It is a field with only rice plants. What is a crop? Crop is nothing but a single or same kind of the plants are grown in the large scale at the same land, right? So that is called as the crop. Example is you can take the rice, you can take the wheat, you can take the maize, anything you can take. There need to be the single plants. The plant should not be varied. If you are putting one plant of the rice and one plant of the soybean and one plant of the this, all it is not called as a crop. A crop means in a large scale there should be the same kind of the plants are grown at the same land. It is called as the crops. And what is the need of this all crop production? What is the need of this crop production? What is the need of growing the rice? What is the need of growing the soybean? What is this all crops? Varieties of the crops are there. What is the need of management and the production? Right. We all know that we are living creatures, right? Human beings and animals and plants, all are living creatures. The living creatures require the energy. Simple, they require the energy. Why we require the energy? We require the energy for the various activities of our day-to-day life, like digestion, excretion, respiration. So means our life process, our life activities or life processes, they require energy. There is a need of energy. Without energy we cannot live. All the living creatures, without energy they cannot live. So right, then how we are getting the energy? So if you consider about 10,000 BC, so on that time the peoples were the nomadic, means the peoples who goes in a lot of the different areas, who surround the whole areas in search of the food and the shelter. What the people is going to do? On those time before 10,000 BC, the people are going to hunt the animals. The hunting becomes the major source of their food. Then after the peoples of that time, what they are going to do, they are going to eat the raw materials, the raw foods, right? Like the vegetables and the fruits, they are going to take in a raw manner. So they all, those all things become the a mode of getting the food. But when the human being become little intelligent, what he going to do? He is going to manage the food and is going to produce the food. On those times, the food is not cultivated or at the same land. The people are going to eat the raw foods only where the fruits are growing. But those fruits are not grown at a time in a large scale. So that's the difference. So due to the increase of the population of the world, what is the population of the world? You know that around 7.8 billion population is of the world. And consider about India only. India has around 1.4 billion population. If you see, if you read in our Indian number system, means it's around 140 crore. Around 140 crore. I'm not sure. Okay, because it's going to increase every day, right? So it's around 140 crore the population of India, and the world population is around 8 billion is there. So to feed this large scale of the population, we need to produce the food and we need to manage the food. Simple. And our India is the second largest food manufacturer in the world. So means the backbone of the India is called as the agricultural sector. Means we are well known in the whole world for the agricultural sector only. The backbone of our India is the farmers. Going to call the farmers are the backbone of the India because our India is the second largest food production in the world. So that is the reason to feed this much a huge population of the country or huge population of the world, there is a requirement of the food management and the crop production. So that is the reason we are going to cultivate the food in a large scale. So that is called as the crop production and management. You may be understood that what is the need of crop production and management for the survival of this much huge population of the world. There is a need of crop production management because without food we cannot live. How we are getting energy? The energy is getting by the food. We take the food in two manners, that is the veg and non-veg. Means we are depending upon the two source of the energy is that the vegetarian and the non-vegetarian. You know that the animals do not have any mechanism of the food production, right? But the plants can produce the food. How they can produce the food? The plants can produce the food by the help of photosynthesis. The plants have the mechanism of the food production. They can produce the food by the photosynthesis. But the animal do not have any mechanism of the food production. So what we are going to do? So we need to depend upon the plants as well as the animals as the mode of getting the food or getting the energy. Then many will say that what is the meaning of agriculture means there is a wrong conception is there. The agriculture means many people thought that it is the growing of the plants. No, agriculture doesn't mean that only the growing of the plant. Agriculture means that it is the cultivating of the soil for growing crops and nurturing animals to produce food and other products also. Means agriculture even includes production of the milk also. Agriculture even includes the production of the egg also. Agriculture even includes the production of the chicken also. So they all comes under the agriculture only. Agriculture doesn't only mean that the growing of the crops, it means that there is a nurturing of the animals to provide the food and also the other products also. What the products are we going to use? We are going to use the skin of the animals, we are going to use the hairs of the animals. So this all comes under the agriculture only. So you know that wool of the sheep they are sold for a very effective prices. So that also comes under agriculture only. So we are going to do the dairies. That is nothing but production of the milk. So that also comes under agriculture only. So there are a lot of the things are there to do the agriculture. Agriculture only doesn't mean that the growing of the crop products. Right. It is nothing but it is the cultivating of the soil, growing the crops, and nurturing animals to provide the foods and other products. So this all comes under the crop production and the management. So what is the need of crop production management? Simple is that to feed the large scale of the population of the world and the population of India, there is a need of crop production and the management. In the world, only 11% of the land is utilizing for the crop production. Only 11%. In 100% of the dry land, only the world is using 11% of the land for the cultivation. So it is very difficult to feed this much a huge population by only 11%. So around in the whole world, the India holds to be the second, the largest food production, only because we are cultivating in a large scale or in a large amount of the areas. That is the reason. So we are going to study about the crop production and the management. In this chapter, we are going to study what is the cultivating, the soil, everything we are going to study. So stay tuned. So we've discussed the definition of what is the crop and what is meant by agriculture, right? So what is the meaning of the crop? A crop nothing but a same kind of the plants are grown in a large scale at the same land, that is called as the crops. So now there are the types of the crops are there, right? There are two types of the crops are there, known as the kharif crops and the rabi crops, right? So how many types are there? There are the two types of the crops are there, known as kharif and the rabi crops. So then what is in the kharif crops? Actually, the crops which are grown, sown nothing or grown, right? In the rainy season, what is the sown? The sown nothing but in Kannada it will be the meaning of bittuodu, right? So that is sown in the rainy season are called as the kharif crops. Means the rainy season crops are called as the kharif crops. If the crops are growing in the rainy season, they are known as the kharif crops, right? Then in India, which season is called as a kharif season? The month from June to the September. It is the June to September month. It is called as the kharif season, in which the kharif crops are going to be grown there. Means why it is grown or why these crops are grown in the rainy season only? Simple. Why the crops of example paddy, maize, soybean and cotton, why these all crops are grown in rainy season only? Simple. So it is the simple understanding is there, because these crops, that may be paddy, nothing but the rice crops and the soybean and the maize, they required lot of water for their growth. You may have visited the rice crop land. You go and visit there, the crop is filled with the water. So they will not grow in the dry land, they require a lot of water for their growth. So the reason the crops which required more amount of water for their growth, those all plants are separated and grouped under the crops known as the rabi crops. That may be the paddy, maize, soybean or cotton. They all crop required a lot of water. That's the reason they all are grown under the rainy season only. That is called as the kharif crops. Simple. What are kharif crops? The rainy season crops are called as the kharif crops. Which the rainy season is there? From the month of June to the September, it is the rainy season is there. And which crops are grown under this rainy season? Paddy, maize, soybean, cotton, etc. There are many are there. We take only some examples. Then comes towards the rabi crops. What is the rabi crops? Rabi crops nothing but the crops grown in the winter season, right? The crops grown in the winter season are known as the rabi crops, right? Why they are grown in the winter season? Because they do not require that much of the water. As a reason, they are grown under the winter season. In India, the rabi season will be from the month of October to the March. So the March nothing but February March nothing but it is the starting of the summer we can say. So it is the winter season in which these rabi crops are going to be grown there. Example wheat, gram, pea, mustard. So these all plants are grown in the winter season and the winter season plants are known as the rabi crops. Means the crops are again subclassified into the two types known as the kharif crops and the rabi crops. Kharif crops are called as the rainy season crops and the rabi crops are called as the winter season crops. Kharifs are the month varies from June to September and the rabi crops month varies from October to March. So this is the two type of the crops of the India. So now it's a very big task for the people who grow the crops. So who grow the crops in our India? They are the farmers, right? So it is a very big task. It is not an easy way to get the food. We have to do the lot of the activities for the crop production and the management, right? So it was a very tough and a long period work for the farmers in which they have to follow some of the activities or some of the practices. What the farmers will do in their field to cultivate or the crop production. How they are going to do the crop production. So there are the step-by-step methods are there or the practices are there by which we can understand that how the crop production is done in the whole world and in the India. Simple, which are the agricultural practices. So which you have to include for your farming purpose. First one is preparation of the soil. What is the preparation of the soil? Actually, we'll discuss it one by one later. I'm going to give just a simple introduction about this all things. Preparation of soil means actually after harvesting, what happens? The land becomes little bit tough or hard. What is going to do? They are going to again make the losing of the soil by using some of the instruments or even by the tractors. They are going to lose the soil because the losing of the soil is one of the basic first method of agricultural practices, because the seeds which you are going to sow in the land, they are going to get the proper nutrients by the preparation of the soil. The first method is preparation of the soil. Then second is the sowing nothing but I said in Kannada that is the bittuvodu. Then third is adding of the manures and fertilizers. The manures and fertilizers it is added on the land basis, whether the land is productive or not. So there is a fertilizer land or unfertilized land, and it depends upon the manures and the fertilizers. Again, there are the types are there. We can add the organic manures and even there the inorganic manures also present there in the market. You can get and add. So again, the irrigation is it is supply of the water to the crops, protecting from the weeds. Weeds are nothing but they are the unwanted plants. They are the unwanted plants which grow along with the crops and they take the nutrition of the crops, and as a result they will overcome the crops and the growth of the crops will decrease and the weed crop will increase. Weed nothing but we can say in Kannada as the hulu, right? So right, these all things weeds are going to be protected. So weeds are have to be removed in the field again by the farmers. Then harvesting. Harvesting is the what? It is the time of taking the produced crops. Storage. It is nothing but what crop we grow that has to be stored under particular area in particular place. So these all are the agricultural practices. So now in this next we are going to study one by one about each practices. So now we discuss, students, the agriculture practices one by one, right? Which is the first agriculture practice is preparation of the soil. Then how to prepare the soil for the crop production? Simple. If you are belonging to the farmer family, you will understand very easily because even I belong to the farmer family. During this time of preparation of soil, I have visited many times in my childhood period. Students, we discuss now the agriculture practices one by one. So which is the first agriculture practice we are going to do? Preparation of the soil. Right. If you are belonging to the farmer family, you will understand very easily how the crop production is done. Even I belong to the farmer family. I visited many times when the preparation of soil is done. So, right. If you are a farmer, a family belonging to the farmer family, you will understand very easily this chapter because the preparation of soil is the first method of agriculture practice. Then, what is meant by the preparation of soil? Nothing but it involves the loosening and tiling of the soil, that is plugging and watering. Right. The soil should be loose there. As I already said, after the harvested, the land is left for some months maybe, right, or some days. So what happens means the soil will convert into the little bit hard. So right, so to avoid that one, there is a need of loosening of the soil. So it is done by one of the gadgets you are going to use, one of the instruments you are going to use. So we will discuss about that one later. So what is meant by the preparation of soil? It is nothing but it involves loosening and tiling of the soil. Tiling means it will get the deeper. Up to that, the soil becomes loose there, and as a result, it is very easy for sowing the seeds. What is not tiling or plugging? Nothing but the process of loosening the crops. This is done by using the plug. Right. Then what is mean the plug? The process of loosening of the crops, and this is done by using the plug. The plug actually it is made up of wood or iron. It depends upon the farmer. They are going to make this one, that has to be made with the wood, or even sometimes the farmer will prefer to use the iron also. Right. So what is the plug means? Actually, it is used for the tiling the soil, adding the fertilizers to the crops, removing the weeds, etc. And even it is made up of the wood, and as a result there are the pair of the bulls are going to be used to take that plug. Right. Simple way, come to this figure, you will understand what is the plug. Right. So this is the plug. In the Kannada, it's said to be Negilu. I think it is said to be the Negilu. By this plug, the farmer used to lose the soil. Right, a simple way. This is the instrument used to preparation of the soil. That is known as the plug. There are the three portions of the plug is there. This is called as the plug shape. This is known as the plug shaft. The long iron or the long wood which is made is called as the plug shot, and the area or the long again, the wood which is carried out by the two bulls, a pair of bulls, which is called as the beam. Simple. Right. This is made up of iron actually, because it will go inside the soil to lose it. Nowadays, we are going to use the fully, it is made up fully by the iron, but on those time even the farmers will prefer to use the wood also. So this is the three portion is there, that is the plug shape, plug shaft and the beam. The beam is carried out by the two bulls, one will be in this side and one bull will be on this side, and it is controlled by the farmers behind the plug shape. So you have seen this instrument using in the farmers, using the fields by the farmers. So this is called as the preparation of the soil. Simple way, what is the preparation of the soil means? The preparation of the soil is nothing but it's the loosening and the tiling of the soil. How it is done? It is done by the plug. Simple way, you can call in a Kannada as the Negilu. And after that plug is having the three divisions there: plug shape, plug shaft and the beam. The beam is carried out by the bulls and the bull will move. As a result, there is the loosening of the soil in there. So that is the first method of agricultural practices, that is the preparation of the soil. So now we move to the second practices. Students, the next agricultural practices is the sowing. Right. After preparation of the soil, the second step go to the sowing. So before sowing, the farmers, the first duty is the selection of the seed. So which seed they are going to select? First of all, listen or understand what is called sowing. Sowing is nothing but it is the process of putting seeds into the soil, right? So it is the process after loosening of the soil. The second process goes to the putting the seed into the soil, the loosened soil, right? So before sowing, the good quality seeds are selected. Means the farmers are going to choose the seeds which are the good qualities, because the good quality of the seeds will give you the good quality of the crops, right? If you are choosing the bad quality of the seed, the crops will be again bad. The crops will not give that much amount what you are expecting them. So it is a very necessary condition for choosing the good quality of the seeds, right? So even the farmers will prefer the having the rich or large scale of the production of the good quality of the seeds. So then how it is done? How the sowing is done? Right? The sowing is done by the traditional tool. The traditional tool is nothing but it is used traditionally for sowing the seeds, is shaped like the funnel. Funnel means this is a funnel. The funnel will be in this shape, right? It is shaped like funnel and the seeds are filled in the funnel. Whatever the seed you are going to sow, those seeds are placed into the funnel, right? And this funnel is connected to two or three, right, pipes which ends are having the shaft. Why the ends are sharp? Because they should insert into the soil and easily sow the seeds. That is the reason there is the funnel is there. In the funnel, we have to keep the soil which we have chosen the good quality of the soil, and this funnel is connected to the two or three pipes which ends with the shaft. Right. So this is nothing but the traditional tool you have seen in your field like this tool, because this tool is used for the sowing of the crops. So before discussing the third agriculture practices, we are going to discuss one definition of the seed drill. Right? So this traditional sowing machine is used in the traditional time, but nowadays the trend is using the seed drills. You know that to avoid the labors, the amount of labors are used in the farming sector. So to avoid those all things and even to save the time, to save the money, these all things, nowadays we are using one of the machine is known as the tractor. The tractor is the machine which is going to be used as a seed drills. What is the seed drill? Seed is nothing but the seeds are drilled using, and it is used for sowing with the help of the tractor. Means nowadays the people are using, or the farmers are using tractor for the sowing the seeds. What is the need of using a tractor? That is the traditional that thing, that the machine. The tractor will ensure that is the equally, whether equally all the seeds are distributed in the field or not. That is the reason, right? And it is uniformly distribute the seeds in all the area of the land. And also it is going to save the time, it is going to save the labors, amount of labors are going to be used there. So it is going to do lot of the things that the many people commonly cannot do. So that is the reason nowadays the agriculture practices, there is the very large scale using of this seed drills, that is nothing but the using of the tractors, and the tractors will ensure that the uniformly, whether the crops are well placed or whether the seeds are sowed in a uniform manner, and whatever the weeds are there before drilling that one, the small weeds and everything was made very easily by using the tractor. So nowadays the tractor become one of the very important agricultural machine for production of the crops. So tomorrow we are going to discuss about the next agriculture practices. We will discuss about the third agriculture practices, that is the adding manures and the fertilizer. So for the healthy growth of the plant, how the animals require the food for their better growth and the better health. Even the plants also require the nutrients for their healthy growth. So that's the reason it is very important to add the manures and the fertilizer to the crops. The farmers will prefer the many type of the manures and fertilizer, that may be the organic manures or even the inorganic manures. The organic manures are nothing but they are going to be done in the house only by using the organic manure, by using the pit. So there you are going to put some of the organic materials which are wasted, like the vegetable waste or the cow dung. Those all things are going to be placed in a pit, and as a result after some days that will convert into one of the useful manure, and that manure is going to be placed in the forming or in the form for the better growth of the plants. So the reason adding of the manures and the fertilizers become very much important for the healthy growth of the plants. If you are not adding the fertilizers and the manures, the crops will not be that much healthy. As a result, you will lose the crop quality. So that is the substance that added to the soil in the form of nutrients for the healthy growth of the plants are known as manures and fertilizers. Means the substance which is adding in the form of the nutrients in the soil. Means what the soil have, that nutrient is not sufficient for the healthy growth. That's the reason we have to add the extra nutrients. Means which substance we are adding as the form of a nutrient that will help the healthy growth of the plant. That substances are known as the manures and the fertilizers. The process of adding nutrients is called as the manuring. Right. So the farmers has to add the manure compulsory for the healthy growth of the plant. Otherwise, the crops will not be that much healthy as we expect. So that's the reason it is a very important agriculture practice. That is the third, known as the adding of manures and the fertilizers. So student, I request you to download the NCERT book again one more time. I'm telling this one because somebody will tell that I'm telling the different topics. So it's a very important. Go to the website and download again. The textbook is there, and after then see the syllabus what you are having. So there is the first chapter of the syllabus called as a crop production and the management. So you'll follow. This is the first chapter, and we're discussing about agricultural practices. So stay tuned. Tomorrow we're going to discuss the 4 agricultural practices for the crop production. So I will be right back tomorrow with you.